Good evening, everybody. My name is Julianne Peterson. I am your host today of Zoom at 8. I am a loan officer for Old Capital Lending. We close $1 billion in multifamily properties every year. I want to make sure that you guys know Old Capital, we are a nationwide lender. We start at $1 million and 5 units or more. So if you're working on something and it's something that you need some understanding of what the lender, who is your biggest partner, can do, please give me the opportunity. I'd love to take a look at it. Now, I run my business a little bit different than what most mortgage lenders do. I bring the team to your transaction, or I can introduce you to sponsors, to property managers, to investors, to all sorts of partners if you don't have those already in place. So if you have something that you are looking at and it still remains green, go. I'd love to see the T12 and rent roll. Now, listen, I know that there are a lot of options when it comes to doing something on Tuesday nights, but Tuesday night is Zoom at 8 night. You've got 6 other nights that you can go do whatever. Be committed to Zoom at 8 on Tuesdays nights. Now, listen, today I am so excited. We have Tony Odeh. This guy is going to blow your mind. I know that we have JT in the house, and you can buy your insurance policies from him, and he does an awesome job. But Tony's going to take us through the small print so you know what your options and your rights are. So it is time to get connected with our speaker tonight. I'm super excited. He gave me his bio, and every word is perfect. I'd love to read it to you all, although I could be here for a little while. So I want to really have you understand the power of tonight's speaker. I met Tony probably 2-3 months ago, and I was like, I need to know you. So we have gone back and forth, and I am just super excited for you to know what your rights are when you sign for your insurance policy. How many times do you look at that when the policy comes in the mail? It goes into the file cabinet, and then something happens, your roof falls off, you pull it out and you go, oh, I didn't know that. Now what do I do? So this is the guy you want to know. He needs to be on your team. I'm on your team, JT, you got Gail and Jim, and you got Kimra. These are all people that are part of your team. So Tony Odeh operates Boss Public Adjusting. He is recognized as an expert in state and federal courts in handling insurance claims and contracting matters. He is an intricate part of complex litigation and is used as a litigation claim manager and key strategizer. He is experienced in handling large commercial and residential claims. He is highly effective in his craft and has over 30 years of experience in claim and construction matters. As a result of his commitment to honesty and his client's best interest, his systems are time proven to be effective. His clients always benefit from his service and his efforts. He can handle claims in all states of the United States, in America, all of them. He can help you. He encourages property owners who have had a loss, who were underpaid and denied coverage, or thinking about possibly making a new claim, to reach out to him. Don't let it go. Insurance is intimidating and vastly an unknown territory for most, no matter how smart a person is. I could go on. I think what really matters is if we would listen to Tony and what he has to say. The power is here. So let's go ahead, look at the little sign over on the right side. It says view, bring to speaker view. And now you see Vinky, isn't she beautiful? Once we get to hear from Tony, you'll get to see him on your screen. So Tony, welcome to Zoom at 8. How are you?
Great. Appreciate the kind words and the vote of confidence. Let me just kind of do my thing.
You're on.
Yeah. So, first off, we all buy insurance. Insurance just keeps going up in price. Coverages are being played with, and there's all kinds of challenges. And I just want to put out there in full disclosure, you need to have a good agent, okay? But the agents specialize in selling the products. A lot of my clients are actually agents that have rental properties, and they find themselves dealing with a claim and realizing that it's a much different process than, what they thought. Let's just put it that way. So I have, like anybody, it's based on your personal experiences, your background. So what makes me unique and stands aside from other competitors is I have a very extensive background in construction. I'm primarily a contractor. That's where my bread and my butter was historically, and I found my way into the insurance community as a restoration contractor. And then through decades of just applying myself, I found myself in every facet of a claim. So over time, I've now developed skills where I'm internal, where I work with attorneys, and I'm part of the litigation strategy. My goals are to make sure that the insured is positioned in the best way possible. So to your point, Julie, we all buy insurance. We all trust other people to handle it. And the truth of the matter is, and I just got to be frank, the truth of the matter is you're viewed as a prey. Okay, you're from both sides of the coin. When you're processing a claim, there's a series of things that take place to where insurance companies take advantage of your naiveness and your lack of being savvy to contract law. Your insurance policies are based in contract law, which means it's not I just pay a premium, I call my insurance company, and a garden of money pops up. It's all based in contract law, and what the insurance companies count on is you not knowing the contract and not understanding the terms and conditions, and at that point they start volunteering help. When they start volunteering help, you just need to know a few basic caveman principles. Insurance is a for-profit industry. The more money they collect in premiums, that's when they're making their money. When they're paying claims, that's kind of the part when they're not making money. So, they're very good at this. They wrote the policy, okay? One of the things that I find interesting is a lot of my clients are attorneys. Attorneys that either need me as an expert or an attorney that needs me to handle his own personal claim. And that's because there's a unique training, there's a unique interpretation. That's a key word, interpretation. Interpreting what a word means within the confine of a policy. Let me show you how interesting that is in a policy, you have a definition page that gives you definitions of terms. Well, why would I need that? Because they're not necessarily what they would mean in normal contents. It's definitions within the confines of that policy. So whenever somebody thinks they're going to game the system, be the smart guy, you're not going to outsmart the insurance company. You're just not. Many people in my shoes, I'll say this, you have to respect insurance. You can't be sloppy handling insurance. They are very skilled at what they're doing on the other side. They are positioning, maneuvering, legislating constantly. And in the meantime, what we are doing is we're paying premiums with no thought. The absolute best position for anyone hearing me, anyone that's connected to another human hearing me, is have a recovery plan. Look at your policy before you need it. Your agent can only do so much for you, okay? Your agent may spend an hour or two with you discussing your needs. They may think they know what your needs are. They may recommend a product, but let me show you this. And I realize there's an agent on the line. Once you've been presented a policy, the next thing you're requested to do is sign for it. That signature is huge. That signature says you understand and agree to everything in that 78-page document of fine print. And that is the emergency parachute that can be used for an agent who says, I did my best to give you a product. You then signed for it and agreed you understood it. If you didn't understand it, you shouldn't have signed it. And thus, if an agent makes a mistake, the golden parachute is there for them, which is you said you agreed and understood it. And the honest to God's truth is there's no way you could honestly say you understood it. It's too complex. So the idea here is to bring someone like me into your team. I review the policies and I can tell you, look, guy, sir, ma'am, you do realize you have a $150,000 deductible? You realize that if you asked your tenants to provide a renter's insurance that you could lower that cost? You could spread that risk? I'm kind of an amateur investor, okay? And I look at insurance kind of obscure where it's like, okay, Florida's prone to have a lot of storms, but Florida's too expensive to buy insurance. I'd rather buy a property in Louisiana where the insurance is cheaper. And I know it's prone to getting hit by a storm. I'm a kind of a weird guy. I'm looking at policies. I'm looking at how to strategically use them, not ignorantly use the policies. Let me show you this. Insurance companies keep a 7-year record of your claims history. Okay. Nexus Lexus is a service that tracks and monitors your usage of insurance. What it's really tracking is how many times you call in a claim. So the idea is you're buying a property, you have somebody like me look at it. We can determine whether there's coverage from the seller that might apply to your transaction. On the other hand, you transact and you have the property. Now something goes wrong and you don't know. You have no idea. So what does the normal property owner do? They just start going into fix mode. Well, what happens if what you're fixing is covered by an insurance policy and now you've paid the premium for the policy that gives you the benefit for the repair, but then you're also paying to repair it. So it's an insane process where people just don't get it. So the ultimate place for someone to be is to have someone like me on your team to review policies before you need to use them. We look for gaps. I have to be familiar with insurance products, just like your agent, because I deal on the claim side. So there may be suggestions I can make to an owner to say, hey, you could buy this other product that could supplement. Or maybe you don't want to buy any of these supplement products and you're willing to carry that risk. And the key is, you know what you're risking. You know, if you have a fire policy only, that if a hurricane comes, you don't have any coverage. Do you know how many times I meet people that are reporting a hurricane claim and their policy doesn't even cover it? And they just assume that they had it. And thus, now they're mad at their agent. They're like, why didn't you sell me a hurricane policy? And the truth is, there it is. You said you knew what you bought. So the idea is to understand what kind of coverages you have. The next step is to determine whether it's worth making a claim. Sometimes you have a claim, it just might not be worth making because the offset of what it's going to do to your future premiums, you might not want to make a claim. But having that understanding and that premise of saying, okay, now I have a choice. I know if I make a claim, this is how it'll offset my future premiums, how it'll offset my insurance. But at the same time, this is what I can cash out on it. Okay, now I'm going to make that decision. I will cash out. I won't cash out. I'll make the claim. I won't make the claim. If you decide to make the claim, you want to make sure that this is all consciously done and that when you make the claim, you're going to end up with a recovery, because the mere making of the claim increases your premium, even if you don't recover any money. So what happens to 99% of people? They have a problem. They call their insurance company, and that's it. And then an adjuster comes. I'm an adjuster, and I can tell you, as an adjuster, they give you zero training in construction or estimating. So for all of you guys that have ever had a claim and you've ever dealt with an adjuster, I just want you to know that their experience in construction is at the level of a Walmart door greeter. And if you're okay with a Walmart door greeter telling you what your insurance company owes you, then just keep doing it the way you're doing it. Okay? The idea here is, when you have a valid claim and it makes sense to make, that you make it, and that you don't toy with it. You don't nickel and dime it, and you also don't exploit it. That you process the claim to a point where you're going to get a recovery. It makes sense to put the hit on your claims history. I know guys in my shoes that will recommend multiple claims, and they're reckless about it. They don't take that conscious next step in how is this going to affect them long term. So you make 50 grand on 3 claims. The people representing you make some money, but now your premiums increase so much that you wish you could give the 50 grand back. Okay. Yeah. So understanding when to make a claim. I see property managers all the time fixing things that, like, give you an example, insurance covers hidden damage. I've been seeing a lot of strip malls in my area where they're replacing the facade. And what you see is that there's deterioration happening from the inside. And once the management gets wind of it, it's already too late. A lot of damage has been done. Well, there's a coverage called hidden damage. So they don't cover rot. And watch this, in that chain. So you have the Walmart door greeter that's at your property, and you're showing him all this damage. And he comes, I'm dealing with one right now. It's a vandalism claim, landlord policy, vandalism claim. The guy was growing marijuana out of these warehouses, and the police raided it. The guy had no idea it was happening, the landlord. He makes a vandalism claim. The Walmart door greeter volunteers that this is a mold claim, and there's no coverage for mold. Well, the owner never said it was a mold claim. He just explained the problem, showed the property, but he did nothing more. And then the Walmart door greeter says, sounds like you have a mold problem. And just so you know, no, mold's not covered. So reporting a claim is one thing, notifying the insurance company you have a loss, but then stating your claim is
correctly, the right words to use.
You are the one making your claim, not the insurance company. So, and what's happened is it's gotten so comfortable out there where homeowners, property owners are so clueless to the claims process. They simply call the insurance. That adjuster shows, that adjuster says, well, it's only worth this. Then you take the deductible, then you take this and you take that. And at the end, here's your $100 check. And 100% of the people don't want to seem stupid. So they just kind of nod their head in that fog of, I can't believe this. And they take their $100 check and tell about a bad story of how a claim went south and they got ripped off, when really the truth is they never got ripped off. They're in a contract. The insurance made an offer and you accepted the offer. They're just better business people. They understood their policy. And where the owner failed is they never stated their claim. Get an estimate. Well, this is what I recommend for people. Know your policy ahead of time. Have a plan. That's key. Have a recovery plan. You know what? Nobody wants to talk about funerals. Okay. But when someone dies in your family and there was no preparation, what does it cause? Confusion, mass confusion. You want to avoid mass confusion? Have a plan. What's a plan? Similar to a will. Have a plan. Nobody wants to talk about it, but you're going to have a loss. Okay. So have a plan, understand your policy, have someone like me in your life, preferably me. But if not me, someone like me, but you're not going to find anyone like me. So I quit saying that. But have a plan, understand your insurance, okay? So that when that time comes, because it's going to come. So I look at the weather station much different than any of you guys. That's the money station. There's money flooding in on the south side of the country. There's fire money on the north side of the country. So the weather station is the money station to a guy like me. There's hurricanes on this side of the country, tornadoes on that side of the country. That's money station, okay? So have a plan. Understand what you got as far as insurance, and qualify your damage before you even make a claim. Don't take a hit on your claims history guessing on whether you have a claim. The ideal position for anybody is to know their policy, understand their damage. You call your insurance and you say, my roof is leaking. The Walmart door greeter gets up on your roof and he says it was installed incorrectly. Well, that's your opinion. What makes it installed incorrectly? I don't know. That's what they told me to say this month. It was bad weather in the community and everybody was told, just say it's installed incorrectly and then we don't have to cover it. So know your policy, know your damage, then report your claim. Don't report your claim without knowing what your policy says and not knowing what your damages are. So I guess the point there is be very methodical, be very strategic in how to use your insurance. Don't just, hey, I think I got a problem. Let me call Walmart to tell me how much they owe me. And keep this in mind, who are you calling? You're calling the insurance company. And what did they do? They hired an adjuster. What did you do? The insurance company is the entity. The policyholder's the other entity. The one guy, the insurance company, is smart enough to hire their adjuster. And just for all you listeners, there's 2 licenses when you become an adjuster. It's not 1 license, it's 2, and they're restrictive. So you either have a restrictive license as an adjuster to solely represent the insurance company's interest, or you have my license, which I can only represent the policyholder's interest. So it's much like a defense and plaintiff mentality, but even lawyers, they can cross their representation, but as an adjuster, you're restricted. So the insurance company hires a licensed adjuster who's there to represent their interest. That guy comes out and talks about the golden retriever, the kids in college. And by the way, speak up because I'm recording you. You follow me? Every question they ask you, every expert they send out, they're doing it to limit what they pay you. So know your policy, know your damages, then make your claim. When you make your claim, have estimates. Submit it in a package called a proof of loss. Now you've reported your claim, but you've also stated your claim by giving them an estimate, where in the policy you're making the claim. I had one recently where they said, well, we don't cover flood. And when they recited the policy, they recited the portion of the policy that dealt with like a body of water overflowing where you would need a separate flood policy. But this was a broken water pipe claim in the slab. And they were sly in how they denied the claim, saying, well, we don't cover flooding. If you were a novice, a property owner, you would say, oh, I guess I don't have coverage for that. What you wouldn't have connected with is that maybe ignorantly, maybe with some slickness, they kind of twisted the wording. I'm going to give them ignorant rather than malicious, but they label the claim for you in a way that you're not going to get coverage. So you have to state your claim, and just kind of closing that segment out. At all costs, stay away from anybody that they recommend. Okay. And this is so touchy. it ties to what I'm pushing as far as being prepared and having a plan. If you're prepared and you have a plan, nobody's going to push you around. And let me tell you this, you control nothing on this earth other than the four walls of your home and the properties you own. Those are the only things you control. And when you lose control of those, you're an unstable person. And the insurance industry has paid thousands of millions of dollars to study your psyche. And they know that the worst possible time in your life is when your assets are underwater and struggling. And then the prey. Then you have to worry about the insurance community messing with you. But watch, I'm not saying anyone's a saint. The whole other side, the people like me, are also targeting you. Like you're, as a policyholder making a claim, I feel very sad for people because you're literally navigating a landmine. You have insurance companies, and I'll say this, not all insurance companies are bad. And I will also say this, my claims settle because even bad insurance companies know when somebody's working that knows what they're doing by the paper that comes in. When the homeowner wants to cry in a violin and poor me and you guys are ripping me off, that's not fulfilling your duty in the policy. Did you supply an estimate? Did you state your claim? Because all the violin, they don't exist in this world. It's business, it's money. Handle your business, know your business, and watch out because public adjusters, plaintiff attorneys, mold people, restoration contractors, the serve pros, the service masters, all of these people are after your money. And what's interesting is if I only have $100 and everybody keeps picking away at it, what ends up happening? I spend my money and I don't even realize I'm spending it. Right after a loss, the insurance companies will flood you with vendors. Don't you want your house back? Our guys can start tomorrow. Well, what are you going to start tomorrow? Well, we're going to paint over all the smoke damage. And then when my house smells like an ashtray, and then I got to sign a disclosure in a transaction that I had a fire, 10 years from now I'm paying the price for that fire claim because the home inspector from the buyer picks up that I disclosed I had a fire and it wasn't treated well. Well, now I go back to cry to my insurance company and they're gone because prescription hit. The time to hit is when the claim is hot. Protect your asset. Only you have an interest in your property. Only you. So the insurance company is only supposed to pay you money. That's it. So when they say, here's a contractor, here's a cleaning company. Well, if you're only supposed to pay me, why you keep trying to shove all these people on me? And if you don't have a plan, people fall for it every day. They sign. Let me ask you, Julie, would you ever sign a blank work authorization? Would you ever sign a blank authorization for a car dealer just to give you any car on the lot? Well, what the hell goes wrong in people's minds after a problem? And they just start signing blank work authorizations. The serve pros, the Inricons, if you look at their contracts, there's no price. All it says is we're going to bill your insurance company directly. And what happens is you don't know it, but you could have had your cleaning lady clean your house for $100. ServPro just charged you 20 grand. And this is the irony. Could I have kept the 20 grand and cleaned it myself? The answer is yes. If 20 grand in cleaning your clothes is the right method, you have the right to cash out on that 20 grand and not clean those clothes. And instead of taking 20 grand to clean your old underwear, go buy some new ones. But the insurance company, what's cheaper, cleaning or replacing? So the insurance company seeds you with a cleaning company. And you think, man, I've got a great experience here. Look at my insurance company. They're stepping up. Well, no, what they're doing is controlling the cost. Make your claim. Guard your money. Don't let public adjusters, attorneys. I'm a weird breed, just so you know. I don't make friends that easy unless you're the policy holder, because attorneys want to kick me under the table. Restoration companies want me to turn a blind eye to their abusive billing. and I just feel like it's your loss. Let you control your money. Okay. So that's
Oh my God, Tony, have you taken a breath yet?
my rant.
You are so compassionate about this. I absolutely love it. And that's what attracted me to have you here. All right. You've gone over a ton of stuff. Before we keep going, is there anybody here that has a question? I want to know if there's, you're kind of thinking about this and going, wait, hold on. What is the question you might want to ask Tony to get clarification, like you should be on your policy?
Let me say this. So people like me, we work on a contingency percentage. So I generally take all kinds of questions. I'll spend days and weeks talking with people, and ultimately it might be the right decision not to use us. Okay. But we exchange those thoughts. It's that courtesy of explaining and walking and no pressure. So you'll never be asked to sign a contract to talk. I will always give people good information, the best I can give them. So there's really no reason not to have someone like me in your Rolodex. Like, I'm going to buy a building. I had my inspector come. Let me get Anthony to come.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about making a claim. Well, let me call Anthony. Well, how much is he going to charge me? Nothing. Okay, so why wouldn't I call him? Well, I just didn't know. So now you know.
Oh, that's excellent. Hey, Bill Peterson, tell us your question.
Hello, Tony. This is Bill Peterson from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I think I signed up for the webinar through Facebook, the Warrior Group. But anyway, we are actually kind of going through the same process right now. We have a self-storage facility that caught fire and knocked out 166 units. And we are going through the claims process. And we did hire a public adjuster, and it really did change things. But you said be careful of public adjusters. Why so?
So let me tell you, we're all different human beings. And I will tell you this, some of my biggest hurdles is overcoming professionals in my industry that are profit driven, that are what's in it for me driven. And that can be good. That can be bad. Most people are what's in it for me types. And so the only caution there is, I'm glad you had a good experience. I hope you continue. But one of the questions I'd ask, I've been in it 30 years. So you tell me you have a public adjuster. My next question is, well, how long has he been doing public adjusting? Then my next question is, how are you planning on approaching the structure repair, Mr. Public Adjuster? Because as a public adjuster, I know they haven't trained you in estimating and contracting. If the public adjuster says, well, I used to be a builder, now I have a little more confidence in that public adjuster. Mm-hmm. This is my point. Don't blindly trust anybody. Don't blindly trust me. You can, but I strongly suggest that you guard your money. I'm a big educator. If you ever go through a claim with me, by the end of the claim, you will be a claim expert, okay? Because I keep you copied on the emails. I show you what I'm doing. I explain what I'm doing. You're part of it. Too many public adjusters just sign the client. They disappear. Some public adjusters, depending on the time in which you call them, some of the bad stories about public adjusters is, well, he didn't do anything. And I see that where an insurance company was going to already offer you $100,000. The PA gets involved, signs a contract. He doesn't do anything except he collects a fee off the $100,000 the insurance was already going to give you. So again, I think it's fine to have a public adjuster. You want to make sure it's transparent. You want to watch this. You hire an attorney or a public adjuster, they're representing you. What did he turn in your name? Did he turn something in fraudulent? Did he turn in something questionable? How do you know? He represents you. If your public adjuster or attorney does something inappropriate, it's a reflection of you. It slows down your claim. You inherit that. So again, I'm not crapping on all the other professionals. I believe there are some good ones out there. You just have, again, the key there is be involved, understand, and watch. You wouldn't be in this spot hiring a PA after a loss if you had a plan ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There's things like, that's my suggestion, because watch, critical, I call it the window of golden opportunity is right when the claim happens. Okay. You got people coming in there signing blank work authorizations. They're going to squeeze 50, 60, 100 grand in emergency work. I see these roofing companies after hurricanes and they want to tarp your roof. And here's this ceiling. It's like a boat wrap. They're going to boat wrap your roof instead of a tarp. And, you know, that's great. But everything you're doing, you're taking money out of my claim. Maybe I don't want to put a boat wrap on my roof. Maybe I just want to apply those monies to actually a new roof, because I only got $100. And if you spend 50 of it to tarp, well, you're not helping me. So that's why I say you need somebody in your corner that's a strategy person that knows insurance. Get set up before you need to use it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bill, did that answer your question, or did you have more to say about that?
Well, more. I mean, I guess it would be probably for a different phone call, but just the overall process of, you know, not knowing it, not having a plan, but where the situation we're in when we did hire the public adjuster. I mean, they have a whole team. They're reputable. Like I did some of the background checks, and so, but it really, they do think that the insurance company had done various things not improperly. They haven't even investigated the claim. I didn't realize that had to be done. So there was 5 different items that they thought there's bad faith that we could possibly look to recoup.
It sounds like you might want to have Tony consider, helping you.
Well, and let me touch on that. So the bad faith, okay? Everybody wants to talk about penalties and people doing bad, but at the end of the day, you just want to get your money and be done.
Yeah.
Okay? And the truth is, there is no such thing as bad faith, and this is why I say it. It is alive and well. So is insurance fraud. So is insurer fraud. So is engineer. There's all these problems. The truth is, nobody's going to fix that. Okay, it's there. You need to be able to understand what everyone's doing on your behalf. And the idea that somebody coerces you into saying your insurance company treated you wrong, so you need to hire me. Well, they treat everybody wrong. There is your public adjuster is never going to go. I've dealt with 65 law firms in the last 17 years. I've had 4 of them go to trial and get a bad faith judgment. The rest of them talk a bunch of garbage, okay, and they're sellouts. So what? They committed bad faith. Are you gonna be able to find an attorney that's gonna take it all the way to the mat? The answer is no, because attorneys don't want to work. They just want a easy money.
All right. Okay. All right. So couple things. When do we call you? All right. So we're looking at a deal. We get a quote from JT Lynch with Ramey King. We're ready to roll. When do we, because we're going to sign on that before we close. When do we call you, Tony?
So from an investor standpoint, that's, I think you're talking about. So there's a thing called an assignment of benefit. You guys are all familiar with it because it's a contractual term. It's an assignment of benefit. And there's something called an assignment of insurance benefit. Okay. Each state's going to have laws on this, but I know personally where hundreds of thousands of dollars have been recovered by a seller's insurance policy to transfer to a buyer. And the catch there is neither seller or buyer know about insurance. So all of these people are, I love it. These add value apartment complex people, I'm going to buy this, and over a long haul, it's going to be worth all this money. But Anthony, I ain't got time to talk about the $200,000 in repair money that's sitting on the other side that I could just pick up because I'm focused on this nickel and dime crap over here. So to answer your question is if you're looking to buy a property, as soon as you start thinking you might have a deal, and at that point when you're bringing in your own inspectors, you kind of slip in this inspection. It's similar to a construction inspection because I am a contractor, but I'm looking at the property in lieu of how that policy is in place and seeing if there's any connecting dots. You might buy a building that had a patch roof done. The old owner had no idea he was really entitled to a new roof. And you're in a state that has a 5-year prescriptive period, meaning the seller thinks the claim's over. The seller accepted a patch on the roof. As a savvy buyer, you're going to send in your building inspector and your insurance inspector. And you're going to see if there's any opportunity, not to say that there will be, but leaky pipes. As an amateur investor myself, I know any property I'm going to buy, I'm going to pay the $350. I'm going to have a camera ran into that sewer line because I'm not buying a 1960 apartment building with 1960 sewer lines. And if I do, I'm gonna go run a camera in there. Then I'm gonna go look at that policy from the seller, and I'm gonna say, look, you got a bad sewer problem here, but I got good news. You have a policy that will cover it. Why don't we trigger a claim? You assign me the benefits. I'll still pay you your asking price. And now the gamble continues. You were still going to buy the property. You know, you knew you were buying it, but now you have an opportunity to possibly collect on someone else's insurance benefit. Because keep in mind, seller and buyer are ignorant to insurance. So all of these deals happening, you're just missing out on potential free money. I just witnessed an apartment complex put in their pocket 200 grand buying a hurricane hit property. Your people in Texas, we just had a freeze. Okay. Average people, like, you have a broken pipe, you clean it up and you think you're done. But you don't know is moisture was in that wall cavity. Now there's a little bit of mold in there. You think as the seller, you handled your problem. As the savvy buyer, you know you're in a market that had flooding. You need to have someone like me go take a peek. You might find some extra money there on your deal to sweeten it. Or you might find a problem that you didn't even know was there and even the seller didn't know.
Okay. I'm going to interrupt you for a second. So you find a property, you're getting ready to buy it, you come on. What does that tell us a little bit about that? What does it cost? How many minutes do you need in advance?
So there's really no cost for it because I'm a contingency percentage guy. So the policy holder, all of the people involved, there's zero risk to you. Now, depending on where the property's at, I might look for a little travel fund to get me to the property potentially. But a lot of times I can just direct your home inspectors, tell you, go get a plumbing report, get a video of the plumbing, and then let me see the video of the plumbing. So a lot of it can be done remotely, just managing your own team to get me data that's going to help me understand what potentials are there.
So this is potentially before we sign the docs to buy the property.
In order to execute an assignment, insurance follows the insured interest. So for you as an investor to take advantage of someone else's policy, it requires an identification of a covered loss, that the owner of the policy trigger the claim, and then assign the benefit to the buyer.
Yeah. You can see Kimra, she's done so much of this. She's shaking her head. She knows it. She's lived it. She's been in it. Probably had to do a lot of construction to mitigate a lot of this. So, you know, we have professionals here, all of you guys, that are bringing really good information to minimize and to alleviate concerns that you're going to have coming up. Best to be, as you say, Tony, have a plan. It's going to happen. How are we going to mitigate it? How are we going to work through it? So I got to tell you, you have so much information. I could listen to you for hours. And I think that everybody should have your contact information. Can you share how would somebody get a hold of you?
I have a toll-free number. I have email. Let's start with an email.
Okay.
Tony at Boss Public Adjusting. I think you froze up there. So it's
Oh no.
at I'm a simple guy. I'm not into, a lot of designer moving parts on my website. My focus is on working and helping people.
Yeah.
So in any case, my email's Tony at Boss Public Adjusting. Like I said, I can identify when a claim is good, when a claim is bad. My cell phone number, I'm fine with giving that. It's 504 458 6104. 504-458-6104. Texting is wonderful. If you get a voicemail, leave it, but you're better off if you get a voicemail sending me a text, and I'll get right to that. And again, I love to talk, as you can tell.
I mean, you just have so much knowledge, and you're just a wealth of information. So I got to tell you, I'm super excited to have you here and to have shared all of that information. And just to review, know your policy, have a recovery plan, quantify or qualify the damage, understand what your rights are, report the claim, and then have estimates, right? What else? Is that it? That's it, right?
Think of it, avoid their vendors.
Okay, avoid their vendors.
You got to let them come out. So they might want a clothing cleaning company. They may want a building consultant, an engineer. You have to allow them to come out, but you don't have to sign anything, and you don't have to take any of their services. And I'll tell you, if you're looking for a dry cleaning company, go to your local guy up the street that you normally deal with. Don't let some vendor that you don't know that's recommended by your insurance company, because later that vendor is going to be the expert that's going to say that you're crazy, that your underwear smells great to them. I know that's weird, but you know what I meant, right?
You're excellent, Tony. Well, our time together as a speaker has come to an end. So I want to thank you. You're fantastic, and everybody should have Tony in your Rolodex, even though Rolodexes went out 30 years ago, and Snowy probably doesn't even know what a Rolodex is because she only speaks with computer, right? You only know computer stuff. Us oldies, we got the Rolodex, but have him at a fingertip phone call because he is super valuable. So